Pulled chicken. A recipe so easy, a chicken could do it itself. Today we're smoking our chicken and turning it into some sandwiches. It's gonna be amazing, but you can also do so many other things with this recipe. You can make nachos, you can throw it on pizza, whatever you want. And fun fact, chickens are the closest living thing related to dinosaurs. And spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the new Jurassic Park, it's a giant chicken at the end. All right, we're starting out with a regular sized bird here. And what I did was when I got it from the store yesterday, took it out of the packaging, I dried it as much as I could, and I popped it in the fridge, uncovered, and left it overnight. The reason is because we want to get the skin as dry as possible. If you ever had rubbery chicken skin, it's because it had too much moisture in it. So taking it out and getting it dry is going to help this bird get nice and crispy. Otherwise, we're going to treat this bird just like any other bird. We're going to spatchcock it first, which is just taking out the spine so it can lay flat. And the reason we want to do that is because it just cooks a lot more evenly. We don't have to wait for other sections to catch up to, say, the breast, which finishes a lot earlier than, say, the wings and the thighs. So get yourself some kitchen shears, find yourself the backbone here, and you can start either at the tail or up here where it's a little bit more pronounced. And actually, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna turn this around, and we're just gonna cut right along the spine on one side. And again, a good pair of kitchen shears goes a long way. If you try this with regular scissors, I don't know if your results will be the same. All right, so we've got one side going. Let's turn it around. And of course, there's still stuff inside my chicken. Let's get that out. We don't need that. And right on the other side where the tail is, we'll just come through. And you don't have to throw away this spine. You can absolutely use it to make chicken stock. It's actually perfect for chicken stock. All right. And again, if there's any, gizzards and parts and shit like that, just cut it out. And if you see any unnecessary fat, like say right here is just like this little thing of skin, you can trim that as well. We don't have to do too much, but if we're not going to eat it, why cook it? And then the last thing we have to do, turn it over on its back, get that open, and then we just push down, and that's it. So with our chicken, we could just throw all the seasoning on top of it and cook it as is, but I'm making sandwiches out of this where I won't necessarily need the skin, but I want the seasoning to get onto the meat. So what we're gonna do is a little bit of pulling off the skin, and I'll show you what I mean. I'm gonna need both hands for this. So we'll start with our chicken thigh. I'm gonna take my hand, run it underneath the skin, and then you should just be able to, boom, pop it out just like that. And then we can get our seasoning to it. I'm gonna do the same thing with the other side. Just kind of feel, get your fingers underneath the skin, and then boom, pop it out like that. And the same thing for the breast. This is where it gets a little dirty because you're going to lift it like a skirt. So get your fingers underneath here, just kind of loosen it up. And listen, if there's tears and stuff, it's totally fine. So I've got this top portion loosened up, and then we're going to start from the bottom as well. There we go. And this way we can get seasoning not just on the skin but underneath, so everything will have good flavor. And if you want to, you can inject the bird. It's up to you. Just like that, we've loosened everything up. So we're going to start with the back right here. I have just got some McCormicks Montreal chicken because I'm gonna be doing a couple of things with the chicken. I'm making sandwiches, but maybe tomorrow I wanna do a different style. So this is just a good kind of middle of the road seasoning. It doesn't make it too barbecue-y or too Italian-y, words that don't really exist. It's just good. So I'm gonna hit the back. And remember, with our chicken thigh, how we popped it out. Go there. And same thing for this side. Get that chicken thigh out. And be generous with the seasoning. Don't be afraid. Seasoning won't bite back. And then we're gonna flip it over. And one thing I wanna do real quick, just to make sure the skin stays extra crispy, a little bit of canola oil. You can use duck fat. You can use any type of spray fat, but this is gonna help the skin crisp up. And then same treatment, hit it with that seasoning. And don't forget to get underneath the armpits of the wings. Everything must be seasoned. And remember, we lifted up and had our breast meat exposed. Put a little bit in there. Same thing on the other side. And sometimes you might need to sprinkle it and kind of rub it down just to get to those lower parts, but we're not gonna get too obsessed with that. And now our bird is seasoned and ready to go. So I'm gonna let this hang out. We were cooking this on the Traeger today at, I wanna say about 275. This is gonna take about 3 hours to do. But this is the hardest part, just getting it seasoned up. So I'm gonna let this rest at room temp, let those seasonings work while I get the grill fired up, and then we'll take it upstairs and we will start the next part of the process, which is sitting back and doing our thing, and our thing is getting drunk. All right, our bird is on. We are at 275, and we're just gonna let this rock for the next 2.5 to 3 hours. Just depends on the size of your bird as to how long it's gonna take, but we don't do anything. And again, you can do this on any grill, just set up for indirect cooking, nice and slow, 275. Get you some good smoke on there. Today I'm using a mixture of oak and hickory, but you can use pecan, you can use just regular hickory, whatever you want. Smoke to your heart's desire. But we're gonna check on this in about an hour just to see how it's coming along, and then I'll probably put a probe in it, because today we're gonna take this off at 160. I know normally I say 165 for the white meat, 175 for the darker meat, but I want this to stay juicy, so I'm gonna take it off at 160 and just let it carry over to that 165 level. So it'll be nice and done, but I just wanna make sure it doesn't dry out, because we are cooking for a pretty extended period of time. So let's close her up and we'll be back in an hour. And while we wait on our chicken to finish cooking, let's make today's poor choice, which is a refreshing limeade punch with, of course, a kick. And again, if you want to support the channel, we have a Patreon. Just ask for $1 a month. You can donate more if you want to, but it definitely helps keep the channel going. So for our limeade punch, what we want to do is first take a couple of mint leaves. I'm going to do about, 4 to 5 mint leaves, maybe more depending on how minty I want it to be. But again, summertime, we want this feeling refreshing. So let's start with those. I have some pink lemonade here that I am going to pour, I want to say about 6 ounces of, kind of eyeballing it, but that feels about 6 ounces And then I've also got some limeade that apparently I've already drank. All right, and we're going to pour equal parts of that, so another 6 ounces, give or take. And then the best part about this is the champagne. Just got some Corbel extra dry here. Get that open, and yes, the entire bottle. Let's make life easier by pouring it at an angle. Actually, let me switch it up. Let me switch it up for the slow-mo cam, which may or may not be recording this at all. Tough show to do on your own. And this is great for brunch. It's great for anything, just a nice little punch to have at the cookout. It's gonna have the bubbles, it's gonna have the flavor. It's gonna have all of that. Boom. Entire bottle's in there. We don't need to do nothing else other than pop our lid on and pour. And maybe I want to dress it up and throw like another mint leaf in there. Pow, now we're fancy. Anyways, this is our limeade punch. It is a poor choice today. Oh, that's still good. That's still good. I might put a little bit more pink lemonade in there just because I like pink lemonade. But cheers to you. And again, we are just waiting on our chicken. So we'll check back on it in about 45 more minutes. Okay, it has been an hour. Our chicken is still got ways to go. What I did do is I put a probe in the thickest part of the breast, and I have this probe connected to my ThermoWorks smoke alarm. Always good to have multiple probes. This one's great because it's wireless. And so I have it set to 160. We're still gonna let this rock. I'm probably gonna put a few more pellets in my Traeger just to make sure it can get to the end of the cook. But back to what we were doing earlier, which is just more and more drinking. But as you can see, skin's starting to crisp up. Maybe you can, maybe you can't see it. It's smelling amazing, and I can't wait to build this sandwich later. So close her up and keep on cooking. All right, it has been a total of about 2.5 hours. Our chicken is done. My alarm was going off, let me know that it has reached 160. Our bird's great, it's smelling great, so let me go ahead and get my grill shut down. Now, we don't want to immediately tear into this. We want to give this at least 20, 25 minutes to cool down. That way, it has time for the juices to kind of redistribute within the bird, but also, we don't want to burn ourselves. So I'm going to get this downstairs and then start getting my stuff together for our sandwich. All right, our chicken is done. I let it rest for 20 minutes just because I want the juices to redistribute amongst the bird itself, and also because I want to burn my fingers. So now we just pull chicken, and if you never pulled chicken, you literally just pull it. Dig right into that meat. Oh, that skin is so crispy. I gotta give it a little bite, sorry. I love chicken skin. That does not disappoint. Get your meat, start shredding it. As you can see, it's still pretty hot. And don't be afraid to mix up your meats. Get that racial harmony going with your white and dark meat. All gonna be good and flavorful. I put the skin off to the side because I like to snack on it. But you can totally mix it into this. Again, so many applications. You can just dunk this right into some barbecue sauce or some buffalo sauce. Skies is the limit. I know I don't really need the skin for the sandwich that I'm about to make, but I'm not mad if a little bit gets in there. Just adds more crunchiness. I mean, just look at that juice. So much in there still. And that's the benefit of taking it off at 160 versus cooking it all the way up to 165. I mean, 165 would have still been fine, but taking it off at 160 allows it to carry over to that number without losing a lot of moisture. Because that 5 more degrees could have meant another 20 minutes in the grill. And there's just certain things as they sit in the grill for long periods of time, they start to dry out. So I'm gonna continue to pull this and get everything, the wings, the thighs, all that, get it all mixed together, and then it'll be sandwich time. All right, it's sandwich time. We've pulled all of our chicken. Now it's time to build our sandwich. So first thing I have is some sourdough bread. I whipped up here some chipotle mayo. I've got like almost a cup of mayo here. And then I took some chipotles. I cut up 1 chipotle pepper, and then I also took some adobo sauce, maybe like 2 tablespoons. Just mixed it all together to create this. You can buy it pre-made, but I like it fresh. Also, I can control the heat. So what I want to do is just spread that first on my bread. Just get a good layer there. Make sure we get all the edges. And I am making these sandwiches on the Opti grill by Tefal, if I'm saying that right. You can use a Foreman grill, or if you have a panini press of your own, or throw it on a griddle, whatever you want. I like this here. Both our pieces of bread are here. So what I want to do is take some Roma tomatoes, just cut up a few. I like tomatoes, so I'm gonna put 5 pieces on there. Hope you all can see that. I have got some mozzarella, freshly sliced. I'm just gonna lay across here. I wanna take some of our chicken meat. I wanna get good coverage. I wanna make sure every bite has some chicken in it. Then I have got just some red onions here that I've thinly sliced, didn't saute them or anything. Got some basil leaves that I'm gonna place on here. 3 will do, perfect. And of course, got some bacon. It's not the star of the show, but I like bacon. And then you know what? Just for shits and giggles, I've got some cheese in the fridge. Let me go grab that real quick. I've got some white American cheese from another recipe that I'm testing out, AKA some fried mac and cheese balls, which hopefully will be coming to the channel. And I'm using white American because American melts really good. And I feel like that'll bring this sandwich together, good meltiness. So let's just throw that on top of the bacon. I'm gonna throw 2 slices here. Now let's get our piece of sourdough on top. That looks like it's gonna hold together pretty well. And what I wanna do now is just take some butter. I've had this butter out at room temperature for about the last hour, and it's a very hot day in Los Angeles, so it did not take long to get it to soften up. So we're gonna hit this side, and then once we put it on the grill, we're gonna butter the other side. We'll get our Opti grill lid up. It is smoking, which is perfect. And I am gonna put the butter side down first, and then I'm gonna put more butter on this side that's up real quick. before closing this up, I want our bread buttered, baby. And just like a Foreman grill, the Opti grill has a little tray down here so it can catch all the greasy drippings, but you know, we're not being healthy today. All right, so both sides have been buttered. I am going to close this down. Just give it a little bit of pressure. And then I'm just gonna wait for it to be done. And then it'll be time to eat the sandwich. Now again, this is amazing. You could absolutely dunk it in some barbecue sauce, as I said earlier. You can make a buffalo chicken sandwich, you can put it on some nachos, you can put it on pizza. You can do whatever you want with it. Super versatile, but super delicious. So, we'll be back in a few minutes and we'll check on our sandwich. All right, it's been a couple of minutes and now we are done. The cool thing about the Opti grill is it tells you when your food is done. Right now, the sounds are going off telling us that our sandwich is done. So let's lift up. The bread is nice and toasted and it looks exactly how I want it to. There we go. Let's cut our sandwich in half. Ha! There we go, had to get to that bacon. And let's put our sandwich here to cool down because it is very hot still. But we'll do something like that and maybe we'll make it look extra fancy by putting a basil leaf or something. I've been making up how these platings go. Maybe we'll do something like this. All right, our sandwich has cooled down and I'm just going to take a bite just for the sake of saying it's good. I can indeed confirm this sandwich is really, really fucking good. The sandwich is juicy. It's feeling super fresh because we did everything with fresh ingredients. And of course, we're topping it off with our fresh Limeade Punch. This has been Poor Choices Kitchen. Can't wait to come back here next week and do some other stupid, crazy shit.